if I were to wear sunglasses and I were to look out at this blue sky and these clouds, right, it is going to change the tint in which I see that stuff in. And if I never took those lenses off, I would swear to you that the sky was, I don't know, pick a color of a lens on a sunglass, right? A slight green color or a slight orange color. And I would swear to you the clouds were that way, right? And then one of these days, somebody might take those glasses off of me, and for the first time, I may see clearly what it actually looks like. If you don't recognize the spiritual battle at hand, then you don't recognize the world around you in its reality.
I once was lost, oh, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Welcome to Built on Faith Homestead, or Leaving Egypt, depending on which platform you are watching this on. We have also started a Patreon page at the request of some viewers that watch our channel. Probably not going to be anything different on the Patreon page that isn't going to be on YouTube or Rumble. It's going to take us some time to figure out that page, but we'll do the best we can to get the content out on it as well. We expect no money from anybody. However, if it's something that people desire to do, I understand that as well. What is today's video going to be about? Today's video is going to be about the war that is going on right now for you and I. The war that is going on right now to seize control of you and I. And you want to know what that war is. It has nothing to do with Russia or Ukraine. It has nothing to do with any of these other countries. Let me tell you what it has to do with. It has to do with your never-dying soul. It is a spiritual war. And before you click off this video because you don't want to hear it, please listen to me for just a second. And I want to ask you, why do you think the whole world is moving towards a digital, trackable, traceable, everything trackable and traceable currency where you have no freedom to truly spend money, where you pleased to spend it without somebody knowing it, without somebody understanding it? You understand right now, if I have cash in my pocket, I can walk down to the farmer next door and say, hey, I'd like to pay for a gallon of milk from your guys' milk cows. And he may look at me and say, listen, we can't do that because we were contracted out and whatever. I could eventually get that price high enough. He's going to sell me a gallon of milk. And if I have that cash in my pocket, nobody has to know where that money was coming from, who gave it to him, where he got it, all that kind of stuff, right? Why do you think the whole world is falling under a centralized government? Why do you think the UN was ever put into power to begin with? It is to bring us all to basically a one world government at the end of the day. And so why are you talking about this spiritual war? Well, what does it have to do with homesteading, all these things? Well, that's exactly what it has to do with homesteading, is that this is why so much control is being put on the people around the world. That is why people are trying to, or governmental leaders are trying to, the initiatives they're putting through, the policies, the laws, all those things, is all to move us towards this direction. Now, you can say, well, I don't believe that we're headed towards that because that's what the Bible says. However, very few people with an open mind at all would argue too much that we're not headed towards some sort of centralized government for the entire world. And so I'm a big why person. Why are we headed that way and what's going on? I believe it is a spiritual war that is manifesting into the physical. I believe the attack on mankind is a spiritual war that is manifesting in the physical. Every section of our life has something to do with a spiritual realm. And you say that sounds nuts, and I understand that. But I want to ask you this. Have you ever looked at the statues that are in Washington, D.C.? You ever looked them up, tried to understand them, what the meaning was behind them? And I will show you just one of them right here. The Statue of Peace, right, has got false gods in it, Mars and Neptune and those kinds of things. And that's in our nation's capital, been there for a long time. Our pocket money, right, our cash money, As nice as it is to have cash money and try to be as free with that cash money as you can possibly be and spend it how you wish and all those things, it also has to do with the spiritual realm. There's all kinds of spiritual notations on that money. One of them being, in God we trust. Now, if you understand where that came from, you understand that that does not necessarily mean the God of the Bible. It just means a higher power. The UN itself has the prayer and meditation room, and I'll show you that here. And in that room, right, is a place where all the world's people can come together and pray. All the world's leaders can come together and pray to their God and what have you, and all of these things, right? Also, you have the infamous and famous celebrities that worship dark witchcraft and all those kinds of things that worship and they're all a part of the occult. You can see that here. Everything from Super Bowl commercials to Super Bowl halftimes to Olympic Games to all of these things. If you will do just a little bit of looking, it does not take much. And no, I'm not trying to hide anything. I just feel it kind of silly for me to have to post every tidbit of proof on here when you also have search engines on your phone that you are able to use whenever you are willing to actually put in the effort. Whether you like it or not, the world is a spiritual world. It is a spiritual fight, and it is manifesting into the physical. Here, read this article here about this satanic symbol in the White House. Now, admittedly, this is a fact check, right? And it's like, hey, it's not been here just since Biden. It's been here since like a long time ago, right? I want you to consider for just a minute, the article doesn't say fact check. It ain't in there. We don't have satanic worship symbols inside our nation's capital. Oh, no. No, in fact, what it says is, oh, no, it's there. It's been there for a long time, been there for lots of presidents. Now, I want to possibly throw this idea out here. I want to know about all of these representatives and senators and all these people, presidents. It's all ran on the platform of Christians and saying, look, I'm a Christian and I'll do the best I can and all these things, right? Have you ever read the Old Testament where all the leaders of the world or all the leaders of the nation of Israel at the time, they would have to get rid of those places of worship of false gods in order to reset the nation to be in right standing with God? Yet here are all these false deities in the Capitol. Even our Capitol buildings are built after a model of the Roman temples to the pantheon of gods. I want you to know that whether or not you think there's a spiritual realm, the world is being operated as such. Therefore, a person needs to understand that this battle that we are fighting, you and I are fighting each and every day, is not a battle fought with bullets and guns and swords and all of those things. This is a battle fought on a bended knee, crying out to God. This is a battle fought by doing the things that God has called you to do, right? By going and witnessing and spreading hope and love and joy and all those things, right? By spreading the gospel message to those around the world that are lost and undone. That is the battle. And if you don't recognize that, you are looking through the world through lenses that are giving you an inaccurate interpretation of what is actually going on. You realize, right? You notice, right? I wear glasses, clear glasses, right? If I were to wear sunglasses and I were to look out at this blue sky and these clouds, right? It is going to change the tint in which I see that stuff in. And if I never took those lenses off, I would swear to you that the sky was, I don't know, pick a color of a lens on a sunglass, right? A slight green color or a slight orange color. And I would swear to you the clouds are that way, right? And then one of these days, somebody might take those glasses off of me, and for the first time, I may see clearly what it actually looks like. If you don't recognize the spiritual battle at hand, then you don't recognize the world around you in its reality. Now, all that being said, once again, what does this have to do with homesteading? What does this have to do with being prepared and being self-reliant as possible and all these things? What does any of that have to do with this? And why, sir, are you putting this on a homesteading page? Well, let me tell you why. Because it has to do with every facet of why I'm trying to live as free as I possibly can and why I think others ought to do the same. Because as they try to attack freedom, why do you think they're attacking freedom? The Bible says where the Spirit of God is, there's liberty, there's freedom. And if you can get rid of that freedom or the Spirit of God, then the people that don't worship God, So, I'm just gonna be honest with you, Satan's powers are a lot happier, right? And so, at the end of the day, every attack on our food supply, every attack on our water supply, every attack on our electrical grid, every attack on the ability for man to live freely on this earth, just to serve God and to do what it is they need to do, every attack on that comes from a spiritual catalyst. And it's important that you know that. Guys, we appreciate you watching. We will catch you next time.